Welcome to GDs. And this is Killing Eve Season 2. Season starts with Villanelle getting out of the apartment. And Eve also leaves. But before leaving, Eve sees two paramedics killing Villanelle's neighbor. And knows that they are the cleaners, sent for Villanelle by the 12. Eve, after stabbing Villanelle, is in a state of shock. And makes her way back to London. While Villanelle is able to trick a cab driver into dropping her off at the hospital anonymously. Villanelle, gaining consciousness, is able to convince the doctor not to report about her to the authorities, as it was her detective husband who did this to her. And the doctor lets her know that he can only hold till the end of his shift. Villanelle, with the help of her fellow patient, is able to collect a few supplies and leaves the hospital after killing him, as she thinks it's best to end his pain. Villanelle, getting out of the hospital, is able to hide herself in the trunk of a car heading towards Britain. In London, Carolyn asks Eve what happened in Paris. And Eve lets her know that she was able to find Villanelle's apartment, but she was not there. Carolyn takes Eve to the morgue and shows her the body of a Lester, also known as the internet guy, who was presumed to have died of a heart attack. But indeed he was assassinated and was made to look like a natural death. In addition, the note that Nadia left had two names on it, one of a Lester and one of Eve. Carolyn rehires Eve and wants her to start looking for answers, as well as Villanelle, because they both are drawn towards each other. Eve lashes out at Carolyn, wanting to know more, and if she is one of the 12, and what she was doing talking to Villanelle. But Carolyn deflects by letting her know that trust is two-way street, and she is also not honest about Paris. And for now asks her to start working. As Eve decides to go back to MI6 to look for Villanelle, she tries to strengthen her relation with Nico by letting him know a few of the details about her work. Eve joins the team of MI6, which already has Kenny and two new members, Hugo and Jess. And she gives them a brief about Villanelle. And as she looks into the killing of a Lester, she doesn't think that it's a work of Villanelle, as it was very discreet. And later confirms her theory by talking with Lester's family, as they were not able to recognize Villanelle. And they now believe that there is a second female assassin, who likes to be under the radar. And Eve is thrilled, thinking that this will piss off Villanelle. Meanwhile, Villanelle was able to reach London. And having no money, tricks a man into taking her home and protecting her. But it turned out not to be a good idea, as the man helping her is a creep and imprisons her. Villanelle tried calling 12's helpline but got no answer. She even tried to connect with Eve but was not able to get through to her. Frustrated and tired, Villanelle fights with the man holding her, and she was able to kill him. And as she walked off the property, she was picked up by Raymond, and he lets her know that he is her new handler. And she is only alive as circumstances have changed. And she has no choice but to work for the 12 again. And as Villanelle leaves, Eve also reaches the house because of the phone call, and now knows that Villanelle is alive. Carolyn takes Eve to her house and asks her not to freak out, as it turns out that Konstantin is still alive and is at Carolyn's house. Eve wants to know more about Villanelle, but Konstantin is not forthcoming and want her to forget about Eve. In addition, we learn that Carolyn is trying to convert Konstantin as her asset. And as leverage, the MI6 is keeping his family safe. And Konstantin doesn't know where they are, with Villanelle being out and on a short leash, is given a new assignment. And she executes it. And later Raymond teases her that she is not the only female assassin, and now has a competition, and even Eve is looking for her. Villanelle, getting jealous, stalks Eve's husband Nico, and even makes harassment complaints against him. And as Eve goes to one of his official party, Villanelle pushes another teacher to make her move on Nico. Eve, seeing an apple, gets suspicious of Villanelle's presence and sounds the fire alarm, but was not able to locate Villanelle. And Nico gets upset with her obsession and sends her home, though Villanelle was able to drop a lipstick in her purse. Eve, finding the lipstick and the message behind it, knows it was Villanelle, and forces Kenny to provide her with the location of Konstantin's family. Eve negotiates with Konstantin to give up 12's safe house in London where Villanelle might be hiding, and in exchange she will give him the location of his family. And Konstantin agrees and provides her the address. But before MI6 and Eve could reach, Konstantin goes to Villanelle, who is happy to see him, and he wants Villanelle to work with him as a freelancer. And Villanelle, seeing the MI6 entering the hotel, decides to join Konstantin, and both of them leave London. Carolyn is quite upset with Eve, and warns her not to go behind her back ever again. And asks her to look for the new assassin, and they call her the Ghost. And as they look at the kills, they were able to deduce that the Ghost is not working for the 12. Eve, looking more deeply for connection, was able to find more natural-looking deaths of people who Molester knew or worked in his company. They try to get more information about his company. But his son Aaron Peel is not forthcoming. And in his egos lets them know that intelligence agencies are now obsolete. And he has more data than both MI6 and CIA combined. But with another assassination at Aaron Peel's company. And by the ammo used by the killer. Eve is able to draw a profile for the assassin. And Kenny, cross-referencing the profile, and the people who had access, was able to find the assassin. Meanwhile, Villanelle gets her first freelance kill and makes a spectacle out of it. Back in London, as they try to interrogate the Ghost, she is not giving up anything. But when Eve asks her about Villanelle, she lets her know that she is a devil. This gives Eve an idea. And she wants to contact Villanelle, in order to ask for her help, to interrogate the Ghost, as she is clearly afraid of her. And in order to contact Villanelle, Eve decides to put out a hit on her. And Carolyn agrees with the plan. Kenny is not happy with Eve's decision to work with Villanelle, as she is responsible for Bill's death. And Eve, because of his hesitation, removes him from the team. Carolyn has arranged for Nico to be out of the city on a school trip. And Eve finally gets a visit from Villanelle. And as both of them are drawn towards each other, Eve was able to convince Villanelle to help them interrogate the Ghost. And as they go ahead, Carolyn and Konstantin keep an eye on them. Villanelle was able to get the information from the Ghost. And lets Eve know that it was Lester's son Aaron Peel who ordered the hit, as he wants to sell some kind of a weapon. Villanelle, not satisfied with Eve's gratitude for her help, visits Nico. And inform him about her connection with Eve, even letting him know that Eve stabbed her in Paris. Nico is quite upset with this. And as he confronts Eve, he gets aggressive and they both had an amazing night. Nico didn't like it and decides to stay with a friend for a few days. On the other hand, with the team knowing about Aaron's plan to sell a weapon to the highest bidder, they want to know who is interested and what is the weapon. And in order to do so, they need someone to get close to him. But it will be quite difficult as he is quite paranoid. Eve takes Villanelle's help again, and she was able to gain trust of Aaron's sister. And for doing so, Villanelle murdered her caretaker in front of Eve. Aaron is a control freak as well as a psychopath. But Villanelle was able to make him trust her, and secured an invite for her to Rome where he will be selling the weapon. Carolyn lets Eve know that she will be staying in a hotel close to Aaron, and that she must ensure that no one is killed during the mission. And Hugo will be her backup, and Villanelle's safe word will be gentlemen. Konstantin also urges Villanelle not to kill anyone during this mission. But before Villanelle leaves for Rome, she confronts Nico and his friend, and asks Nico if he loves Eve. And Nico lets her know that she is his wife and of course he loves her. And this upsets Villanelle. On the other hand, Kenny tries to warn Eve not to go to Rome, but Eve leaves anyways. Villanelle is staying in the room which Aaron has booked for her, and he is watching her through the cameras, whereas Eve is connected to her via the earpiece. Hugo and Eve are able to learn that the weapon is an information database, in which he could learn details about anyone's life, once he enters their name. And later that evening, with the earpiece on, Villanelle arouses Eve. And Eve makes out with Hugo, with Villanelle's voice in her ear. The next day, Villanelle was able to make her way to Aaron's control room. And learned that not only he watched her, there were others before her. And in the end he kills them. And as Aaron gets ready for the meeting, Villanelle finds it to be with Raymond, and uses the safe word. As Eve gets ready to leave to help her, she hears gunshots and hides. And later finds Hugo to be shot. But she leaves him to go help Villanelle. And as she reaches Villanelle, it turned out that she was in no immediate danger. Aaron, seeing Eve, wants Villanelle to kill her. And Eve asks Villanelle to leave, but Villanelle kills Aaron. And as they make their way out, Eve wants to go back to help Hugo and get the recordings. And Villanelle lets her know that she will wait in the car for her. And as Eve returns to the hotel, she finds it has been cleared. And Carolyn arrives letting her know that it was their team who cleaned up. And also Hugo is safe. Eve informs her about Aaron's death. And she lets Eve know that it was supposed to happen. And by this way it gives them possible deniability. And Eve is surprised that Carolyn manipulated her. Eve refuses to go back with her, and threatens her about letting Kenny know about her methods. And as Carolyn leaves, she lets Eve know that Kenny already knows, as he was the part of the cleaning crew. Meanwhile, Konstantin tells Villanelle to leave, as the 12 are in Rome and will be coming for her. In addition, he also informs her that they wanted her to kill Aaron, and he helped them in manipulating her, as Carolyn promised him a life with his family. And as Konstantin leaves, Villanelle lets him know that she will find him. Villanelle returns to the hotel to get Eve, but she finds Raymond waiting for her, and they both get into a fight. But before Raymond could finish Villanelle, Eve hits him with an axe, and Villanelle pushes her to finish the job, and Eve kills Raymond. Eve is shocked, and Villanelle gets her to safety. Villanelle wants Eve to come with her, and they can live together, and confesses her love for Eve. But when Eve realized that Villanelle had a gun all along, and she could have shot Raymond and not made her kill him, and Eve, in anger, and being upset with Villanelle for forcing her to kill Raymond, decides to walk away. And as the season ends, we see Nico gaining consciousness, and finding her friend being killed. And Villanelle, seeing Eve leave, and not joining her, decides to shoot her. Thanks for watching. And if you liked it, please subscribe.